Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us this week as we come into Studio B every Monday, and we have different organizations come in to talk about what's going on around our viewing area. And we have a lot of great organizations around here that help people and animals. So we appreciate you joining us each week. We're going to take a quick break, be back in a moment, and talk with actually three ladies on Connection.
Spring has arrived in the Ozarks. This is Brent Carell inviting you to Carell Family Gardens and Gifts in Harrison. Whether you need an entirely new landscape or simply need a rose to brighten up a corner of your backyard, we have a large selection of trees and shrubs. We also have Harrison's largest selection of pottery, from terracotta clay pots to gorgeous glazed pots in every imaginable color, shape, and size. Perhaps you're looking for garden benches, outdoor pillows, fountains, lanterns, or maybe just the right gift for someone. We have an array of home decor and gift items. Maybe you need something for your young children or grandchildren. We carry a full inventory of fun items to create fairy gardens and yard art. Are you ready to garden? We carry all the spring vegetables and seeds you need to get your garden growing, along with compost and fertilizer. As the weather continues to warm, we'll have a dizzying display of blooming annuals, perennials, hanging baskets, ferns, roses, and hydrangeas. Carell Family Gardens and Gifts is your locally owned garden and home store located at the north end of Goblin Drive at Industrial Park Road.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television, and our first guest in the studio today from the Ozark Humane Society. We actually have three ladies, as I mentioned here. I'll introduce them: Kay Waters, Robin Arnold, and Holly. Is that right?
That's correct.
We got them all right here, so they're all here today. We appreciate you coming in to talk to us today. We're going to particularly talk about a fundraiser that the Ozark Humane Society, it's $10 for a friend fundraiser that they have going right now, and but we want to talk a little bit more about the Ozark Humane Society. It is basically volunteer driven. If you would maybe give us a little bit of history, maybe if you would, I'll let you start off there maybe.
The shelter has been around the Harrison area now since the early 1970s. Our facility was built in the early 70s. We've maintained it and keep up to probably, we bring in about 400 animals per year approximately, dogs and cats. We take the dogs that are found in the Harrison area by animal control. We bring those dogs in and cats as needed into our shelter, and we try to repopulate them into the community through very adaptable homes and adopting them to appropriate families that we can find. We have a lot of bills that we have to pay for with all those animals, and we spend over $12,000 a year just on food alone to help those animals find their adoptive homes. We do not warehouse animals, but we move animals through, and I'd say probably adopt around 45 animals, cats and dogs, again, per month on average.
Absolutely. Very good.
Yes.
That's
so
good.
It's a very important kind of, but quiet in the background, community service that we perform because we are the only existing brick and mortar building, if you will, that houses this many animals and provides the service for the Harrison area as well as the Boone County community.
Let me ask you a question. I hear about this quite often. In fact, I think we've done some interviews with another organization. But if you can't find a home, a good home for your animals, can you move them other places? Do you ever send them other places or have someone? Yeah, I know some states have very strict spay and neuter laws, which Arkansas should have, and we would not have the problem we've got today.
Right.
For those of you out there that have pets, or if you have access to pets, if you don't spay and neuter them, you're going to have lots of problems, and it's really not fair. So, but anyway, back to the point that can you find homes for these animals other than just the Harrison area? Do you ever have?
We've had lots of adoptions from Missouri, South Arkansas, Little Rock. People come from all over, actually.
That's good.
It's excellent.
That gives you a bigger base
to
help find a good home for these for these animals. I know it is expensive to operate the shelter out there, and we've had dealings with them through the years, and it's amazing, really, with the amount of funding that they have at the Ozark Humane Society shelter, how well they do, and we're going to talk about some of that in a little bit. One of your major fundraising ongoing things is a Cause for Paws.
It's our thrift store.
Thrift store. I'll get it in a moment. And for those of you that may not know, it's right on Crandall, down by Crandall and the bypass, next to Liquidation Outlet. And they have a lot of great stuff in there. People take clothing and all types of things, non-perishables, obviously, things in there. And if you can help out, that's a good way to help out, because all that money goes right to taking care of the shelter. Am I correct?
Yes.
There. So the animals that you have, I know there's been some, I won't say controversy over it. There's been some issues about the fact that, for instance, the city of Harrison no longer has a pound. So I know, are they paying you to take care of these animals that the dog catcher, cat catcher, whatever picks up? Are they helping you any in that respect?
They actually do hold the animals for a few days.
They do.
I thought they didn't have a pound anymore.
They do, as such.
Temporary thing.
Temporary. Just
until maybe they can find an owner.
Correct. And they have been making an attempt by running photographs
in
the newspaper and trying to find the animal's owner prior to bringing them out to our shelter.
So eventually they will come to you.
Correct.
if the owners are not found.
And we do have an agreement with them for a small amount of money to take in.
What about the county? What about?
We get a small stipend from the county every year, and I mean, we're happy to have it, but it is very small, as is the city donation to help take care of the animals they bring in. Probably more in part because we want to be sure those animals are taken care of properly, and that they are not euthanized, and that a home is found for them that's acceptable for both the animal and the new owner, the adopter family. So it's a compatible home for them. We want to make sure the animal is taken care of correctly.
The one thing that I know that they do, and correct me if I say something wrong here, but once you take an animal in, a dog or a cat, you make sure they're spayed or neutered, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And I guess that's probably one of the biggest costs that the shelter probably incurs is the vet cost. Is that correct?
Yes. Our vet costs are well over $40,000 a year, which is why we have the fundraisers that we have every year and depend on Cause for a Paws to help support the shelter. A good portion of that money that's donated or provided for us goes to vetting the animals, and that includes the spay, neuter, and all of their shots to keep them healthy. But spay, neuter, if I might add, please, to your comment earlier about spay and neuter being so important, part of what our mission is as a shelter is to educate the community. And I think we provide that opportunity through visiting with 4-H clubs and some of the Boy and Girl Scout troops, as well as some of the grade schools, about what we do with our mascot Chance. But we also sponsor 4 spay-neuter clinics a year with our Kansans for Animals, with a spay-neuter clinic that's low cost, that enables people that maybe couldn't afford to go to our vets. And our vets are behind us on this. They really support us doing this, because as you mentioned, the biggest issue with the animal population, whether it's cats or dogs, is overpopulation. Yes. And we encourage everyone that has an animal that isn't spayed or neutered to please get it done, and to go to Cause for a Paws, and they have all the paperwork there necessary. We have another clinic coming up in July. Registration is the week before July 26th. We'll have it posted on our Facebook page, but I would definitely encourage anyone that needs to have their dog or cat spayed and neutered to take advantage of our low-cost opportunity to do that.
That's great. That's great. We got about 5 minutes. We want to move forward here on this and talk about your campaign, but volunteer opportunities, and they have a list of them. You don't think about this, but walking the dogs, cleaning the animal enclosures, help them, that's a big project. Transporting animals that are fortunate enough to be adopted, and then fundraising events like the one we're going to talk about, the $10 for Friends program. So if you have any extra time out there, go out and see them at the Ozark Humane Society. And between the shelter itself and the Cause for Paws thrift store, I'm sure they would appreciate your help, because they can't pay they have to have volunteers. They can't afford to pay everybody. Let's talk about your campaign coming up.
We're really excited. This is our big fundraiser of the year that, again, helps support all of our needs for all the animals at the shelter. It starts the 16th, and it runs through the 21st. We'll be happy to take dollars before and after that, of course.
Sure.
But the theme for the campaign is 10 for a friend, $10 for a friend, for one of our animal friends. We're happy to take less than $10. We'll take everything that you can afford. We appreciate all funding that's given to us, but we use 10 for a friend as our theme, because that would help us to go so far with the vetting bills that we've talked about at $40,000 a year, plus all the food for $12,000 a year. And it just helps us keep our staff paid, and helps the small staff that we have, as well as to help with maintenance of the building and that. We'll be in front of the Walmart on the 20th and 21st. We'll be at both doors with our campaign, 10 for a friend, with our bells and our collection containers. We hope to see
and
you
a pet
all
or two,
there.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe an animal or two.
You got it. We've got
show.
some of the volunteers are actually bringing their own animals, I think, with them. We also will be at Crawdad Days, and we'll have Chance, our dog mascot, there, along with some of the dogs from the shelter that people can actually pet and get to know, like Holly.
Yeah, Holly's resting right now.
Holly's resting right now. She's a little frightened of the lights,
okay.
but she's a good girl. So so we'll be at Crawdad Days on both days, as well as in front of the Walmart, and we have collection cans around the community at various places like Nature's Wonders. At all of our vets who are backing us, they have collection containers, and we really would appreciate any help that any in the community are willing to give to us, along with volunteering and product that you can take down to sell as a donation at Cause for Paws.
Yeah, if you think about it, $10 is really nothing. I mean, most people spend $10 for a lot less, but if you've got extra $10, $20, $100, whatever, you could certainly help some animals that need help, and the people that are volunteering their time out here at the Ozark Humane Society. Can we get Holly up just for a minute?
Come here, Holly.
We're about to close out. Holly, come here.
Hey, Holly.
Come here, Holly.
She's a little.
Come here.
She
Come here.
thinks she might be going to the vet, maybe.
That's okay.
Although all the
You're
vets
fine.
are great
That's okay.
to us.
That's a good girl.
There she is.
She's a very nice, well-mannered dog, and she's a 4.5-year-old lab mix.
That's correct.
And she would love to have a good home.
She absolutely would. She deserves a good home.
She's got a great demeanor.
She does. She's very calm.
Well, I must tell you that all of you that are here that are a part of the, and we got, now Jessica's hiding over here.
Right.
Jessica Kibling's hiding. She's the one that called about
Correct.
this. Another one of your good volunteers.
Absolutely.
But
She's
if
been
you'd like to
fantastic.
volunteer for the Ozark Humane Society, for the shelter itself, or for the Cause for Paws thrift store, they would love to have you. But more importantly, they would love to have your $10 or whatever you can afford to give. It is something, they go through this every year. Obviously, the expenses continue to grow. $40,000 in veterinarian costs, $12,000 just for food alone. So you can imagine when you've got that many animals out there to take care of, that you're going to have some problems. And these are kind of animals that would make a great pet for somebody. So Holly's just one of the few examples that you have of good animals.
Oh, we
make
have
good pets.
fantastic dogs out there, and cats. We have some great kitties and cats.
A lot of people out there, sometimes you think, well, I need to go to a Petco or one of these places and spend $500, $1,000 for an animal. I must tell you, the best animals to get right here.
Absolutely.
I have gotten them in my lifetime.
Rescue dogs?
Rescue dogs.
Yes,
I've
they
got a
are the
rescue
best.
cat right now that
Yep.
I got from another group.
Yes.
But as you can see, these animals need your help. So we appreciate both of you for coming in today. Kay Waters, Robin Arnold, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Holly,
Thank you for having us.
Get Holly a good home, okay? She's
We're
a great
going
dog.
to.
We
She's
appreciate
great.
it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Good luck
you.
with your $10 for a Friend campaign. We'll do all we can to help support
We
you.
appreciate your help.
Thanks
you.
for joining us on the Connection Show today. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk about lots of things going on Memorial Day right here close to Harrison.
Sam Alexander Pharmacy has expanded and is now offering many additional products and services. Their new pharmaceutical compounding area allows them to create products to fit the unique needs of a customer. They also have added Spinco orthotic shoes and sandals, Dr. Comfort diabetic shoes, baby gifts by Aiden and Anais, and toys by Melissa and Doug. Stop in today and let them help you with any of your specialty pharmaceutical needs. Sam Alexander Pharmacy, your local Health Mart pharmacy in Harrison.
Crystal clear mountain streams, river rapids, and rolling hills with endless valleys. The beauty of the Ozarks we often take for granted. At Magnus Toyota, we never underestimate the value of our customers. As a third-generation family-owned business, Magnus Toyota has been operating here in the Ozarks for over 50 years. When we make a new deal, we make a new friend. Stop in and visit us today and see why our customers say we're the best. Magnus Toyota, your hometown Toyota dealer on Highway 65 North in Harrison.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on the show today. We hope we brought some information, or will bring you some information that about different things, different events around our broadcast area. Always a lot of activities, even though we're in a small community here of Harrison. There's a lot of things go on around about the 6 county area here, and we like to have these organizations come in and talk about what might be interesting for you. Speaking of interesting, the next individual we're going to talk with here has an interesting event that comes up every year going into the Memorial holiday weekend. Virginia Fowler, thank you for coming and talking to us again. You were with me last year.
Yes, I was, and I appreciate the opportunity to come back and visit with you again.
Rock Bottom Races. Or you call it Rock Bottom, I guess.
We call it Rock Bottom,
yeah. Tell us a little bit about, if this is the 10th anniversary of the Rock Bottom, and obviously started with races, and interesting, chuck wagon races was actually the way it all started, and we were talking about it. Your family came up with this kind of a thing to do, I guess, is that?
Well, a friend of my son's always said to us, this would be a perfect place for chuck wagon races. Well, we had never even been to a chuck wagon race, and we said, yeah, and every year he'd come, this would be a perfect place for a chuck wagon race. So finally we said, well, okay, let's try it. So as we were going down to the association meeting, they were trying to figure out what to call it, because everybody has a name for the race. And so another friend said, how about Rock Bottom? So we said, okay, that works. So we put in a ploy to the association, and they said, sure, we'll try out a race up there. And they came up, and they kind of call us the Denver race because that's the closest name of anything. Of course, I had a gentleman called and said, there's no place for Denver, Arkansas. I said, well, it's a turn in the road. But this will be our 10th year of Rock Bottom, and we like to kind of laugh and say, have you ever hit rock bottom? And hopefully you have at some point.
You've been there at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, Virginia, explain to us a little bit, and to the viewing audience, when you say you went to the association. So is this a sanctioned event? Is this something that they get points for racing or how does that work?
When we started, it was a points race. It was the Arkansas Chuck Wagon Association.
Okay.
Last year was the first year that we broke away from the association, and we ran it more like the Clinton National Finals Rodeo rules. Okay. So it makes it a little more exciting, and we hopefully everybody in the most of the association racers come back and they race with us, but it's going to be our second year of a what they call an outlaw race, but it's still a lot of fun.
Okay, so like a lot of associations, when you're a member of or dealing with them, I'm sure they have certain rules and regulations that you have to abide by. Is that correct?
This is correct.
So, and many times might be the flexibility is not there, if you will. Is that kind of what happened?
That's kind of what happened. And where our track was, it wasn't big enough to do, well, we wanted to do a little more exciting race, kind of like Clinton does. And where our track was for the first 8 years wasn't big enough. So we moved it to a different field on the farm where we had more room, and we do a uphill 4-mule race that's real exciting around the trees, and that we didn't have before, but we do now. So it's a little better location in the more exciting race.
A little more exciting.
Yeah.
I was looking at, Virginia brought us a brochure here. I'm sure these are available around different places, but gosh, you do a lot of different things on here. I mean, you've got a lot of activities. Why don't you just maybe touch on a few of them? You've got the brochure. You can look at it right there. Tell the viewing audience some of the things that you do other than the chuck wagon.
Well, when we developed Rock Bottom, what our kind of mindset was, there's a lot of people that have horses out there, and they don't have any place to ride them. So we've got this 4-day weekend where you can bring your horse out and you can participate in some of the activities on horseback. We have guided trail rides every day. You can spectate on your horses, and it's just a place for the families. They bring their horses, they bring their ponies, and they'll come out and just ride around. We have a mile of creek frontage, and they can just enjoy themselves and bring their horses with them that sit out in the field all year long, and they don't get a chance to ride or a place to ride them. But we'll start out Friday. Well, actually, our gates are going to open Wednesday this year, and we're going to start out that evening with an all-family rodeo. And the next day, we'll have Thursday that will come out, and we have an ARA rodeo and an ACA rodeo that night that's sanctioned. But to start, okay, Thursday night, and then Thursday night we have our first band is Whistling Dixie, and I don't know if it's a local band, and I think a lot of people really enjoy them. Friday, we start out our day with a pasture roping. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, but
no.
We've got one of the biggest in the state, or it might be the biggest in the state. But they turn those calves out in the middle of a field, and those boys, they'll just be flat out running, and it's pretty exciting. We'll do that Friday and Saturday mornings.
Okay.
And then Friday night, we have our rodeo. That night, on Friday night, we'll have Clay Self, his band playing. I don't know if anybody has ever been up to Big Cedar Lodge, but he entertains up there and has for years, and he's got a fabulous band, a lot of fun. We have a great dance floor, and it's just kick back and have a good time. Saturday starts out with a NBHA rodeo, or barrel racing. This year they're going to incorporate a pasture barrel race, where they'll put bales out in the field and they race around those out in the field. So that should be kind of fun. Saturday we have our course chuck wagon race. And then Saturday evening we start in, I think we're having a mule jumping competition before we have our ranch rodeo.
Okay.
And it's a real tough ranch rodeo. It's an invitational, team only, and it proves to be a lot of fun. And the biggest hit, I think, is the aftermath, is the grand finale, is the porta potty race.
Oh my gosh.
And if anybody's ever seen them, they'll laugh. They just get the biggest kick out of it. And it was also another friend's idea. He was at a ranch rodeo, and he saw a guy rope a porta potty that was out in the hot sun and drag it under a shade tree. And he thought, well, that might be kind of fun to watch. So we incorporated this race, and we've had it now for every year at the finale of the ranch rodeo.
That sounds interesting. If you've never seen a porta potty being roped, you probably need to go to this event.
Well, they've got somebody in there, too.
Oh, my
The guy runs down, gets in the porta potty.
Oh, my gosh.
The horse rider goes down, ropes it, pulls it back across the line, and hopefully everything's intact.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, and then anything did you...
Saturday night, we have the John Hale Band, and heard a lot of good things from them, so hopefully everybody will enjoy that band.
Okay.
Then Sunday, we start our day off with Cowboy Church, and then we have an extreme cowboy race put on by the Carroll County Cowboys Church, Carroll County Cowboy Church. I'm trying to get that out right. And they're going to be sponsoring that in the arena. All proceeds from that goes back to the Cowboy Church. Then right after that, we'll have our chuck wagon races Sunday over in our other big field.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we have a rough rodeo stock Sunday night.
Sounds like nonstop events going on. I mean, everything you can think of. If you don't have a horse, you can still come, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you can drive to the different locations and watch everything. We do have bleachers there at the arena, and we try to help everybody out. So if you're handicapped, well, we can take care of that too, and we just try to have a good time.
Okay, so you've got, this basically starts on Wednesday and goes through Sunday, and it's Memorial Day weekend every year. Why don't you mention, Virginia, about the passes? You've got some different ways that people may want to go every day.
Yes, and then we've got different time frames when you go in. Basically, it's $25 a day. If you're going to come and spend a whole day and just come to visit, it'd be $25. Okay. Now, if you decide that you just want to come for a rodeo event, if it's after 4 o'clock, it's $10 for the rodeo, $5 for kids, and 5 and under are free. We have camping available. So if you come in on Thursday, say, and you want to camp till Sunday, it's $100 per adult, which is $25 a day. And then that includes your camping. It's primitive camping. Unless you've reserved an electric hookup, you can go out, park anywhere, and run your generators, pitch your tent, stake your horses, and just have a good time.
Okay. So you can either rough it or you can not rough it. If you're going to not rough it, probably need to get a hold of them because I'm sure you're limited on the hookup, electric hookups. So, this is kind of an unusual event. I mean, I guess Clinton's had theirs for years, the big deal there. It's been going on. Yeah. But this a little bit closer in for the people around in the Harrison-Boone County area. And they've got all kinds of activities. I mean, you name it. She went through a whole list of about 15 different things that's going on. One of which is just take your horse and go out there and ride around or sit on it or whatever and watch everything, all the different events take place, which is kind of an unusual thing that you can do. A horse, many times, it's kind of like a motorcycle, You just leave the horse in the pasture, you never ride the horse, or you leave your motorcycle in the garage, you never get to ride it. This is a good way. You take your horse out there, you can ride it around when you want to, get off the horse, tie it up, and there's all kinds of events going on around there.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you about all of our wonderful vendors that we have out there and the great food we have.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Got a couple minutes.
Yeah, we've got Kathy's Taco Hut that's usually down there at Crawdad Dates, so she's got those great walking tacos. I don't know if you've ever had one down there, but they're almost worth the trip just to go out there to get one of those. We've got a barbecue place. We've got Crawdad Hat. We've got a pie lady that we call her that has all sorts of wonderful desserts and goodies. A lot of farm equipment, tack, vendors, just all sorts of stuff out there to see. And I forgot to tell you about the cowboy mounted shooting that we have on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have that competition on that, too. So anything that you can think of.
Now, what do they do there now?
They're mounted shooters. They're shooting at their targets as they race through the arena and their little patterns. It's kind of fun to watch.
Wow, that sounds interesting. Well, obviously, a lot of things going on at Rock Bottom. Spend your Memorial Day weekend, they say, with them, Wednesday through Sunday. So you go one day, you can get a pass for the whole deal, whatever. You go, and basically, you go to Green Forest.
Yes, sir.
And tell them again on that.
If you go to Green Forest, turn north on Highway 311, and it's approximately maybe 11 miles to County Road 824. And you turn right down that road. You can't miss us. We're the first place at the hill. It's not quite a mile down the dirt road. We've got 2 gates to go in, and if you do bring your horses, that we recommend that you will have to have your Coggins test.
Okay. To show it.
To show, yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. It's obviously the 10th year for the Rock Bottom, and Virginia Fowler, we appreciate you coming in and again this year. And
we appreciate you having us.
It's nice. It sounds like a nice event. So if you don't have anything else going on, at least part of the Memorial Day weekend starts on Wednesday, goes through Sunday. Rock Bottom's got everything you can think of. We're not even going to mention about the porta potty thing again, but somebody's going to get in the porta potty and they're going to rope it and drag it over somewhere, and hopefully that person can get back out of the porta potty. Sounds like an interesting deal. Thank you, Virginia. We appreciate you coming in. Good luck with your event this year.
Thank
you
you very much.
Huge crowds.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on Connection today. We hope we brought some information to you that maybe you didn't know about. Join us each week here at The Connection Show.
Local television worth watching. KTKO Channel 8.